I'm Brett Baer. The two political warriors fighting to be your next president emerged from last night's Long Island brawl in fine pugilistic fashion. Both claimed victory and immediately began trying to influence the judge by heading off to battleground states. First, though, a day full of squabbling about the dialogue over the Libya terror attack and breaking news over another attempted act of terrorism. Chief White House correspondent Ed Henry is following all of it tonight from Ohio. Good evening, Ed.
Good evening, Brett. The FBI confirms to Fox that today they arrested a suspect who was planning to attack the New York Fed. Now, he had actually bought some explosives, but they stressed the public was never in any danger. This latest threat comes amid increasing pressure on the White House over whether or not they dropped the ball in Benghazi. For months, President Obama has touted both the death of Osama bin Laden and the idea al-Qaeda is on the run. With questions about that last claim after the terror attack in Libya, the president dropped the al-Qaeda part from his stump speech today.
I said we'd focus on the terrorists who actually attacked us on 9/11, and we have, and bin Laden is dead.
The softening came just hours after the most intense clash of the second presidential debate.
The day after the attack, Governor, I stood in the Rose Garden, and I told the American people and the world that we were going to find out exactly what happened, that this was an act of terror.
Republican Mitt Romney confronted the president and charged he was rewriting history.
It took the president 14 days before he called the attack in Benghazi an act of terror.
Get the transcript.
He did, in fact, sir. So let me call it an act of terror.
Can you say that a little louder, Candy?
He did call it an act of terror.
The moderator, CNN's Candy Crowley, has since backpedaled a bit.
Now, did the president say this was an act of terror? The president did not say. He said these acts of terror. But he was in the Rose Garden to talk about Benghazi, so I don't think that's illegal.
We actually had a tweet.
Crowley was more skeptical on her own show Sunday, September 30th, when Obama campaign senior advisor David Axelrod asserted the president called it terror early.
First they said it wasn't planned, it was part of this tape, all that stuff.
As the director of national intelligence said on Friday, that was the original information that was given to us.
Axelrod was referring to an unusual statement on September 28 from Director of National Intelligence James Clapper, clarifying the intelligence had evolved, which was used to explain why Ambassador Susan Rice said a video, not terror, was to blame. There would have been no reason for Clapper to clarify if the president had called it a terror attack in the Rose Garden. In fact, Mr. Obama spoke of terror generally.
No acts of terror will ever shake the resolve of this great nation.
Spokesman Jay Carney did not call it terror until September 20th, a full 8 days after the president's Rose Garden remarks. Carney had earlier dug in on the video being to blame.
We saw no evidence to back up claims by others that this was a pre-planned or premeditated attack. We saw evidence that it was sparked by the reaction to this video. And that is what we know thus far, based on the evidence, concrete evidence.
And even after Carney called it terror, the president was still hedging.
We're still doing an investigation. There's no doubt that the kind of weapons that were used, the ongoing assault, that it wasn't just a mob action. Now, we don't have all the information yet, and so we're still gathering it.
Yet Romney seeed to fumble the opportunity to capitalize on the confusion.
The administration indicated that this was a reaction to a video and was a spontaneous reaction.
And late today, the voter who pressed the president, Kerry Latka, suggested the timeline was muddled some more. Latka told Fox News after the debate the president approached him privately and seemed to contradict himself, saying he did not initially call it terror because he wanted to get the intelligence correct. Now, the White House is standing firm tonight that on September 12th, the president did call this a terror attack, and campaign spokeswoman Jen Psaki is saying the Libya exchange was one of the best debate moments in history. She says the president showed being commander-in-chief is leadership, not gamesmanship. Brett?